We are going to end the year by talking about something we do, I feel like, to help us concentrate on good work. It is a practice that we have all done for various years, have really come around a table and talked about this practice. And I just thought it would be really neat to talk about what it means to us, and hopefully inspire you all as you close out a year and start a new year to think about how you position your life and position yourself to do good work. So I think, we talk about this in looking at resolutions, where it's just something we're striving for, we want to happen. And some resolutions I still think can be good. But the word of the year, especially if it's received, which mine are also received at this point, I actually thought I was receiving still as my word for next year, and it was right before the beach, and I just kept seeing still everywhere. Be still, be still, be still. And I actually think it's just for this last little quarter of the year. Not to say that I'm changing my word, but you have to let the ground rest when you're rooted. I mean, like it's just a little bit of be still. Some of that is trusting God for work to come in. Some of that is some stuff going on at church, and it's just, we can't rush things, and we can't, if we want him to give it to us, that sometimes we have to just wait, right? So I think there's when I receive a word, I do try to look at it and how I think I'm receiving it in that sense. Like, okay, and I'll look, and y'all know that I try to look at my life in 4 different parts, the circle of life of soul, kind of how is it with my soul, and how is it with my body, how is it with my heart, which is kind of the people in my life, and then how is it with my mind, which is typically my work and hobbies, and how I express my personality. So I try to look at it that way. I've gone through years where I picked a Bible verse that went with the word for each of those sections, or maybe one overall. I mean, sometimes I get real detailed, and y'all are probably like, just go with the word, Kathryn. But is there anything you do, especially in the front end of the year, to help you prepare for that word? Or is it more just you're kind of riding along with God? Like sometimes I know that I'm going, okay, God, I need more. And so it's probably annoying, like I said. But is there anything you do to help kind of nurture yourself? Or is there a lot of times we'll buy a piece of jewelry or something to remind you of the word? Is there anything you feel like y'all do to kind of shape the year?
Well, even today, just because we were doing this and it was fun, a couple of years ago, I had to count, because I was like, I think 4 years ago, I started doing bracelets, and I don't wear it every day, but my word's on my bracelet. So today I wore the last 4, and it's renew, commission, abide, and this year is rhythm. And so I might not wear them every day, but I enjoy having those little reminders, whether it's a bracelet or it's on my screensaver or on my mirror at the house, or just so that I can redirect myself. And so years ago, when I first looked at this, I looked at this only spiritually. And then I looked at it more in kind of character, like you were talking about. But what I've found is no matter what year it's been, especially recently, when I've really been more intentional about going back and visiting the why behind the word, is I see it in every aspect of my life, whether it's my work or my friendships or my family or my faith or my health. And I can really kind of feel it working, and not the word, but my focus on really how to do and be better in whatever area it is. And I think that's why I keep doing this, to choose a word. The world is busy, and it gives me focus on how to do better and just my purpose of doing better in whatever aspect. But yeah.
think mine is really just journaling a lot about it, like Erin said. And in picking a word, I usually start a list. I have a list in my phone of words that I might want to use one day that just kind of stick out to me. And then it usually, the others fade away and one rises to the top by usually by January 1st, but not every time. There have been years that I've started and it's taken a little bit longer to figure out what that word was, but I will journal about all of those areas of my life and how I think that word might apply to it. And I usually do try to find scripture that has the word in it or around it somehow that really resonates with me.
So music is a big thing for me. So I often will find a song or even make a playlist around the word. I've had jewelry before, and that's helpful to be able to wear it because it's almost like you're an ambassador of that word. I definitely spend time in prayer, just asking God, what do you want to do with this word? How do you want to define it? And just commit to it, truly committing to it, making sure it's part of my mindset as I step into the year. And it's funny because the last few years I've received my word around this time, but I try to take the last few months of the year to just sit with it and not, I'll share it with my closest and nearest and dearest, but I don't broadcast it typically until the first of the year because I just want to have that time to sit with it, define it, journal it, pray about it, and then be ready to run with it or just be open for the adventure of the year.
Mm-hmm. Love it. So I'm trying to think through this year because it's been, my word was rooted. Well, what was your?
Harmony,
rhythm,
story.
And mine was rooted. And so for me, rooted, I started with, honestly, it's changed so much that it's hard to even remember how I picked this. If y'all remember, let me know. But there's been a lot of plant focus in our words of the year. So maybe that's why. But actually, I know why. Because there was such growth with the business in last year that I wanted to make sure that I stayed true to giving God the glory and just doing good work. Stay true, because it's very easy, as soon as something takes off, to be prideful and it's on me. And so that was the original intention. What's interesting is how many roots I feel like the business is laid down between, processes and procedures and new sales tactics or new team. The team has really grown this year. It's been a lot of foundation building, which is, I really wasn't at all planning with the word rooted. I really thought rooted was I've done some of this of going back and kind of what has made me and looking through old journals or thinking about childhood. And that's what I really thought the word was going to be about, but it has definitely been multi, focused and multi-meaning. So what about your words this year? Have they gone in a different direction than you thought?
Well, for me, yes. I started, yes and no. Harmony was not a word I actually wanted. It's funny.
You're like, no.
Right. I definitely pushed that one away for a while. And then it just kept coming up. And so I went to the definitions. And the definitions were balance, unity, support, and so those were things that I really did need. And I wanted to make sure that my family and my marriage and everything that I was doing would be in balance. And I wanted unity and wanted to make sure that my family knew I was supporting them. And so I definitely felt like it was God saying, this is what I want for you. Let's go with this. And so when I said yes to it, then it started unfolding in really fun ways. Getting to lead worship for kids this year has been so much fun. I mean, y'all know how much I love to sing with kids. And so that opened up for me. And I've had many opportunities to actually sing harmony, especially with younger generations. So that was the gift in addition to having that intention and really invitation and promise of, we're going to work on this in your marriage and in your family, that there's going to be harmony. And that's where my intention was, is how am I supporting my husband here? How am I supporting my kids? And making sure that there's harmony in those areas too.
Love it.
So my word is rhythm. I have no rhythm. I cannot dance. I'm sorry for anyone who's ever witnessed it. I play closet classical piano.
She does.
And I can't even keep rhythm when I'm playing piano because I have no rhythm. And I was starting to realize last year that was trickling into lots of other areas. And of course I'm joking, but I'm not. I really can't dance. But I was, my lack of rhythm was starting to affect things and other people. So I might have kept saying yes to so many different things that I thought I needed to for growth opportunities, whether personal or professional. But it was taking away, anytime you say yes to something, you're saying no to something. And so I was saying yes to everything. And I had even some of my team at work were like, you need to slow down. And some of my closest friends were like, you look tired. And so just spent some real time.
It was said out of love.
It was. It was. But I took that, and I think God placed that on my heart and in the community. I think that's a beautiful part, and I would suggest to anybody who's listening that get people around you like this that cheer you on and encourage you and support you, who can say, you're tired. And that community around me being honest made me go, I need to just think about this a little bit better. And so this year I came up with a better rhythm of when I start my day and when I try to end my work day so that I'm more present with my girls, saying yes to things that I know have to be said yes to. Mm-hmm. And it's not been perfect this year. And honestly, I think I could probably keep that word for the next 10 years. But it's definitely been a good word for me this year, a good reminder of the character that I want to continue to grow.
So you both have said something, Kathryn and Erin, like your words stick around with you, and you said you could keep it for the next 10 years. I do think that's one of the things I love about these words, is because they're like book chapters and they don't go away, right? Like they're just, sometimes they build on each other, but sometimes they're just a season or a chapter of your life, but it's still there. The lessons you learned and the inspiration you received, it's all still there, right?
Yeah.
I love that point.
Just check it off your box. It's part of you and continuing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one thing I forgot to mention about harmony that the Lord's taught me, and it has come in line so well, is as a prayer warrior, as someone who prays and listens and loves to encourage other people, it is now active for me in that when I pray for someone and when I speak to someone, is it in harmony with what God is saying about them? Because that's what I like to do in prayer, is listen and hear, what do you have to say for them? And I want what I speak to be in harmony with Him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're doing it.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Such a gift. So story is my word, and it's kind of one of those words that I've been perplexed about. I was really excited about it, and I still love the word story, and I love telling good stories. And I think that's where I really thought in my line of work, I get to work with so many nonprofits, and I hear so many amazing stories, and I want to share them with the world. But I don't have a platform. That's what I've kind of going into this year. I thought, I'm going to share these stories. And I have come to the realization that I don't have a large platform to share them, which is okay. And I don't know that I'm even supposed to. But what I've seen God do with those stories is open opportunities for me to have conversations with people one-on-one about the good work that I get to see happening in our community, and getting to share in that kind of format. And who knows what the future will hold. But I think the other thing, and Liz, you actually pointed this out when we were catching up one day about my girls and how I'm getting to see their stories unfold.
Yes.
They're at such pivotal ages in their lives, and God is writing such cool stories in their lives. And I don't know for those listening if you have teenagers, but it can be a scary time to be a parent, but it also can be such a beautiful time when you start to see the harvest from the things that you've been sowing for a long time, that I feel like it's working, and we're going to have bumps in the road, of course, but I'm just so proud of the young women that they're both becoming. And then the other piece of story is that I think often we ask each other how's God at work in your life? Where do you see God at work in your life? And so making God a part of my story, but recognizing that we are also a part of his story, even more than he's part of ours. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, that's the word, his story, history. Mm-hmm. And so we were all created for such a time as this, and recognizing that we're not here by accident in 2023, and we're in this community for a reason, and we're in these groups of connection for a reason, and in these positions of influence for a reason. And so how can we help move his story forward in a way that brings him glory and makes the world a better place?
Yes, and you do. And, when you said that about a platform, you are so good at those one-on-one stories that, gosh, that's impactful. It might not be broadcasted throughout the world, but those one-on-ones are trickling through.
Absolutely.
I love to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I see you as a treasure keeper. And that's, what we get to do as witnesses of each other's stories. We are keeping those treasures. We're keeping the story close to our heart, so that, at different times we're able to remind each other, you remember when you had this word, you remember when you made this intention, but you are keeping all these treasures, and I truly believe God is going to use them for sure. So he's going to give it to you in time.
Yep.
So y'all just beautifully illustrated why we need to talk about our words with our people, because you almost were coming out of a position of not sure that this was the right word. Or struggling with it, and you both just beautifully pointed out how you see God at work in her life through that word. So even with, no matter what we're doing in life, if it's not a word of the year, or if it's resolutions, or if it's, I don't know, some number you want to hit, if we keep it in a closet and we keep it to ourselves, it's going to be really hard to get there, because we miss the things that are right in front of our face too many times. And so that's why it's been such a gift to, y'all, our emojis, like we have a text group, and there's emojis that represent our words. We take this pretty far, which I'm thrilled with. It has just made the journey all the more beautiful. Yeah. I know, Liz, you have your word for next year. I have not received mine. Have either of you?
I have an idea.
You don't have to say it. No, you have an idea? Mm-hmm. Okay.
No, I don't have it. There's been things working, and every still quiet time that I have with God, I'm like, oh, what? And it can be scary too, because I'm like, oh gosh, I don't want that to be in front of me next year.
Well, that's the way I approached rooted that way, because rooted means like there's going to be wind, right? There's going to be storms, and I have to stay strong. And I'm like, I don't want the storms. But it's not to say that there hasn't been any storms, but it has been so much bigger than that, that we have to be careful about our own assumptions about the word, right? Especially when it's given to us. Mm-hmm. So I firmly believe that, we all are on a faith journey together, but we've been on this journey for a while. So even if someone is not as far along on a faith journey, a word of the year is still a good choice. Absolutely. For me. It has been I've been doing this for 10 years, so it's definitely come a long way. My faith has come a long way in those 10 years, but it is a way. I think, Erin, you said the world is noisy, and to have that connection point with God of just, it's kind of like when you don't know what else to pray or what else to ask for. You could ask for, how is this word supposed to, how can I see you through this word? Or what are you trying to do in this word? So I just think it's a really neat tool, especially if you are looking for ways to talk to God. Just picking a word. We all started with what we were lacking, right? That we all started with, or something we wanted to strive for. So are there any other tips that you would give to somebody that, especially if they're newer in their faith, or they're exploring their faith, and that might use this as a way to connect with God? Any other tips?
Oh, that's a good question.
I would say if you're a resolution setter or someone that kind of sets goals for the year, that writing those down, and you're going to find themes.
Oh, true.
And so that's another way that I've approached it, is just kind of looking at what I'm dreaming about and what I'm aiming for, and what bubbles to the surface when you do that.
And this is not in lieu of goals. I mean, I know that you have, each of you have made goals, and I know you do it, I think, quarterly. Goals are important, but oftentimes if you set goals without understanding your value or, your direction, sometimes you can sway or get discouraged or whatever it is. So this kind of gives an anchor, or, I don't know, just something to hold on to as things change. So don't feel like this one word has to be all you focus on, but I don't know, I guess see it as a helping hand or an anchor, or gas in the tank, I don't know, but or like I said, the title on the page of the story of next year, that you've got that title there. So then write your goals and see if it's in line with that title. And then, if you're new to the faith journey, look up in the Bible app, that word, and see if it comes up in Scripture. That's really helpful to see it in line with Scripture. And also the definitions, and just having all of these tools in front of you will help you kind of shape your year and the way that you see things. So,
Yeah, I think that's one of those. I mean, get a good thesaurus. Because there's so many different angles you can look at a word, and I love that idea of going back and looking at your goals through the lens of that word, because it may be a character trait that you want. I love that idea of, if someone just isn't sure, go back to the fruits of the Spirit.
Yes.
Because that's always a good idea.
We all need
we
more of
all
those,
need
no
more
matter
of
where we are on our
those.
journey.
I could probably pick 2 or 3 of them every single day to work on. But just continuing to write out. I think I've said that 3 times now, but that's always helped me, even when I'm stressing over something, a problem I need to solve or a question that I have, writing it out. And it's just for me. It's just for me. And sometimes it helps me get it out of my head so that I can then continue on what God has planned for me that day. And it's no different with picking a word, of just writing out all the words that come. I think all of us have words that we've listed out in journals that we've never even gone back to until it's time to think about it again. And that's helpful to me too.
Yeah. I do think it's important to say, when I was doing the research on the words, that I think the most popular word chosen was discipline. And I go back to a lesson you taught on the fruits of the Spirit, and that it's like a ladder. And it takes each of the fruits to get to discipline. So I just would encourage someone, if you're wanting discipline, maybe to take a few rungs back. Start a few rungs back, because discipline often can feel like a whip. And you don't want your word to be a whip. You don't want your word to be something that causes you shame or frustration. Let it be a helper.
Good point.
I had someone ask me one time what would be a good word for them. And I thought, if you're not really super close to the person who asked that, I thought, gosh, I can't pick a word for you. But
It's a little awkward.
is.
You need more love.
Yeah, right. Can you do that? Can you do that right? But
Sensing you're too angry.
But I think intentionality is always a good idea too.
Yeah.
Because every part of your life can use more intentionality.
Yeah. Any closing thoughts?
I would love to hear the follow up to this. I think it'd be wonderful to hear what people, who have had words might say, or inspiration that comes from this, because I think what you're doing, Kathryn, is amazing. And it's wonderful to see this come together. And that's come from years of, you pouring in and having intention and trusting and praying. So I'm excited to see what people get from this.
It's also come from years of us sitting around a table. So this is just another table that we get to sit around together, and others in our circle that have meant a lot to us. So thanks y'all have been a part of this since the beginning, before it even happened. So appreciate your friendship. Any other thoughts, advice?
So fun to do this with you.
I think we'll have to do it again after we all pick our words for the year.
Yeah.
I'm down for that.
Yeah.
And then maybe we can hear what other people have to say or ask questions. It can be a little intimidating, really, to start, but it's just a word.
It is.
Don't know where it's going to take you,
And it can change.
and it can change.
Don't be afraid.
Yeah, don't be
Yeah.
afraid.
Just use it as your mission for the year.
Release yourself from the resolutions and have an adventure.
Be free.
Yeah.
Free would be a great word.
It would be.
Yeah. You did that one?
No, it is a great word,
Yeah,
though.
it's a great word.
I've thought
Could we
about
all
that
take
one
it
a lot.
together?
Peace out.
Absolutely.
All right. We'll love all three of you. Thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for being here today, and we'll do it again in the winter, maybe.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.